Good deal. All right. So you got some questions. You've
Yeah.
already asked a couple of other people
Yeah.
and you just kind of want some more insight on it, right?
Sure.
All right, let's hear it. What do you got?
Okay, well, it is a property in Florida, so I'm both DMV and Florida. But I know everyone from DMV, so when
I
I
have
come.
3 doors in Florida.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yep.
So, okay, my first question. So the bottom line is when you write creative deals, so Pace just did this one thing and out and we're like Wyoming or something like Zero Down or a Buck or something like that. Do you know which one I'm talking about? He posted it recently.
I don't know. I haven't been super active with the overall Subto stuff because I've been essentially in the streets taking action myself.
Okay.
So I haven't been like I'm on there
Yeah.
and I've been trying to scale back my social media consumption
Yeah.
and input more of my input. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to follow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to follow the 90-10 where I'm posting
Okay, 90-10.
90%.
Where did you get that and what is it?
It's basically just the 80-20, but essentially it's 90% posting and only 10% consuming.
Okay.
Because I
Gotcha.
can get on and look at 1 or 2 Subto things, and then an hour later, I'm still sitting there scrolling through everything that is just not important.
Yeah, I train horses on the side, so it's, one of those things I'm having to learn. Like if I don't set a timer for 25 minutes and stop right on that and then go do something else for 25 minutes, I can't get it done.
Yep,
So,
I know the feeling.
I don't know, maybe we should just have you share whatever you're working on and I can just learn.
Well, I'd love to be able to answer some questions for you.
Yeah, well, the reason I got into Subto was so that I could buy large farms because I love horses and hay and everything like that. And then, oh my gosh, creatively, so I didn't have to have like this huge down payment and money that I could never access, which is kind of cool because it seems like it's opening up now. Like money I've never seen before. The farm I'm looking at in Florida is they wanted 3.4 million, but it was on the market for over 400 days. And so,
Definitely a
I
good
did.
candidate.
Yeah. And so the guy's wealthy. He doesn't need the money. He already moved out of the house and he just wants to be done with it. So I was trying to work with the real estate agents to do creative finance. And it's kind of an odd thing because in Subto, it's kind of like, does the real estate make money? And if the answer to that is no, then you just go on and find the next property. But farms are what I love. So then somebody said, oh, you need to get connected with these people from Deal Makers. So I talked to 2 people from Deal Makers and they acquisition businesses. So I was like, well, I'm really not acquisition business, getting land and it already has the house and the farm and blah, 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 blah. So I can, I'm going to ramp this business up. So I got all the numbers and blah, blah, blah. So then it came down to like, okay, I don't know how to write this deal. And every time I'd ask people, it was kind of like, oh, it's not that they didn't really know what I was trying to do. And people were kind of like the guy from Deal Makers was, he was super friendly, Subto also. And so he was like, oh, send over what you have. And I said, okay, what was it that you do in horses? So that I knew which language to speak and which hat to wear because it's all different. It's like saying rugby and football. It's 2 different things. So, but as it turns out, this guy is so far above me. He was super sweet. So it wasn't like he was arrogant or anything, but
That's a
like
bonus.
up here, I get $350 a month, maybe for field board or full care if I give somebody a break. And he goes, oh my gosh, that's cheap. He said, I'm in Wellington. It's $5,000 a month. So I was like,
Oh, goodness.
and he's like, yeah, I got into Deal Makers. He said, cause in Subto, cause he said, I'm in former international 5-star competitor and my horses ship internationally to compete.
Wow.
And I thought I was doing good because mine are some of the best ponies, in the States. But in any case, and he's like, but it sucks up so much capital. So he said, that's why I got into Deal Makers and Subto. So anyway, long story short, actually that never happens with me. So if I'm on a tangent, just rein me back in and be like,
Fair
hey,
enough.
about this. Yeah. So, anyway, So I was like, I don't know if this guy's gonna have like sticker shock if I deal with him. So I talked to a couple other people, and I finally found a sub 2 student who's like half lawyer, but not. And he's like in Boston or I don't know, whatever. And somebody that gave me a name. Anyway, he knew right away what I was talking about. He's like, if that's been on the market 400 days and builders aren't buying it, um, then you can really write the terms any way you want. And I said, well, my thing is I need a chance to get the business up and running. And it's been my experience last year, because I already have an LLC and a holding company, but new with the whole thing. So I was like, okay, I need at least 6 to 8 months to get this up and running. That's what happened last year. So I got all this like credit stuff and, got stuff up and going, but it just takes a long time to ramp up. So I called everybody that was in the neighboring farms, and they said, oh yeah, we have like a year waiting list. And, so there's definitely, and everything's built up on Space Coast. So it more than likely will do very well.
Mhm.
So then going to the real estate agents, first they wanted to do, 20% down. I was like, well, there's no way me personally I could do that. And I don't feel comfortable going out and asking for investors yet, because if it doesn't work,
Mhm.
but anyway, so I said, okay, well, I said, tell him this. I said, tell him I'll do 0 down. I'll do 2,400 a month for 8 months. And then after that, I'll put it on, I can't remember what the numbers were. I don't have in front of me, if it was 5,000 or 7,000 a month after the 8-month mark. And I'd take the loan out for 50 years or whatever. And she's like, well, I just don't know how he's going to make money like that. And this isn't the listing agent that I was talking to. This is the person that had good sense to put it in a horse paper. So that's where I found it. And then what did she say? And okay, I'm going to back up. I'm going to go backwards and forwards in timeline. So
Yep.
if that makes sense. Um, so when I was talking to her before Christmas, she said, well, I have my certification in luxury properties. So she said, I would say that she said they already asked more than 3.4 million. They brought it down to 3.4, but after it's on the market for a year, she said, I looked at it, and she said, I would put it, she said, if you started at 2.8 or 3 million, then, you might get talks started. And so anyway, so that was backward in the timeline. Going forward in the timeline, when she said, I just don't see how he's going to make any money if you're going to do it that way. And I said, well, you said, he's done with the property. And if you were looking at 2.8 or 3, and I'm going to give him 3.4 for terms, then he's winning,
It's a win-win.
And then
Absolutely.
the other thing I thought about is maybe I could joint venture with him or do limited liability partner as I
Mhm.
get this business up and running, because I'm like 99.9% sure that it's going to work. I don't have a professional pitch deck in front of me, but there's a guy that already did it in Texas, and the numbers are going to run really, really close to the same. And I've already talked to like other people too. They're like, oh my gosh, if you built that, we'd be there, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so the thing is that was what I was trying to say, is like, how do I write this deal? That's the thing. So this guy's going to help me, but he's kind of fierce. So I don't know if
Right.
the real estate agents are going to work with him or not, but
I would say you need to get in touch with top tier TCs.
okay.
And they will, obviously horse and horse farms are very kind of a small niche.
Yeah.
So I would say reach out to Molly
Okay.
and just email her and say, hey, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm looking to do. Which top tier CC would be perfect for this?
Okay.
I think I have her email. I'll put it in the
Okay.
side chat here.
Okay. The side chat's funny.
Oh, it's easy enough. It's just Molly at pacemorby.com.
Okay.
That's an easy one. But
Okay.
yeah, she would be the one to, because she runs top tier TC,
Okay.
and she's the one that trains them all, of course. So I would say definitely reach out to her, have her
Okay.
put you in contact with somebody, and that way spot on, you're
Yeah.
protected in the contract.
Yeah.
And it has all of the terms that you want in it.
Okay. That's perfect. Okay, so I don't even really have to like I just have to figure out what I want, and then I just hire a top tier
Yeah,
TC to
to
do it.
figure
Okay,
out, yeah, exactly that. Figure out the terms and all of the
okay,
things that you want in there to
yeah,
give them that information, and then they will write it all up for you.
okay, that's perfect.
Um,
That's so
but
much
yeah,
easier.
I mean, that's one of the greatest things about this community is
Yeah,
that that's the beauty. Everyone has a specialized niche. You don't have
yeah,
to be an expert in every single thing.
yeah,
Give you an example. I've been a real estate agent for 18 years here in Maryland, and I still hire TCs to do all of my paperwork,
okay.
especially creative. And then,
Mm-hmm.
I have all PACES contracts and stuff, but having somebody that's all they do
Yeah,
is perfect. No different than hiring, a virtual assistant to make cold calls, file paperwork, whatever small tasks that they would do, or big tasks, depending on the VA.
yeah, because there
Um,
was a lady that when I posted it on the Subto Facebook group, and I even put like the numbers and what I thought that I could get for this business thing.
mhm,
Right away, somebody responded back and she said, "Oh my gosh, I love horse farms." And she said, "I definitely want to invest in this." So I had a call with her and I
mhm,
told her everything I just told you because I was trying to figure out how to write this thing. She said, "Amy, you're just making it way too hard." She said, "You just tell them
mhm.
what you want."
Yeah.
But yeah, so now I know. But I have a question since you're a real estate agent. So this thing with like, because and it may not matter. I don't want to like make so many assumptions and then just get to a zero sum. But the question that I have is if if this guy would have to pay out of pocket for the real estate agents, um, was somebody said something about getting them to having the guy get them to do payments. So what's really appealing to real estate agents about this delayed commission thing?
Um, the number one would be that
Mhm.
they actually get paid.
Okay.
Because right now, 400 days on the market, that agent has done nothing but spend money trying to advertise that thing.
Mhm.
Um, with, whatever marketing strategies or avenues they're doing. So that
Mhm.
agent is doing constantly nothing but losing money.
Yeah.
It's not common for agents to take payments, but,
Mhm.
in 18 years, I think I've done it 5 or 6 times.
Oh, okay.
But those were close personal friends of mine that I
Okay.
knew, not a big deal.
Mhm.
But there again, as long as everything's documented, title company
Yeah.
has XYZ, it's approved by the agent's brokerage, all of those things, and that's on the agent.
Okay.
Or it's, take a reduced fee.
Okay.
Clearly, nobody wants to buy it at its current value. So it's
Mhm.
either overvalued because the seller wants too much, or the agent doesn't have enough control over their client to get them
Mhm.
to the right price to get it sold retail, which
Mhm.
is obviously why it's been sitting so long and why it's perfect for a creative deal.
Mhm. Um, so what would you say to them to take a reduced, like I know Pace always like he tries to want to move them out of the picture. I'd be happy to work with them if they work with all these terms, but if they're going to be
Right.
funny about
Agents,
it,
being an agent, like the agents we all make fun of now in Sub 2,
yeah.
prior to joining Sub 2, I was that agent. So
Oh.
hands down, I get it. We all think we know everything, we're the experts, but that's what we're supposed to be.
Hmm.
And then there's this funny thing over here called creative finance that I've been studying for, or may will be 2 years since I joined Sub 2.
Hmm.
Um, and just the knowledge that I picked up, it's like, oh my gosh, the first 5 months I was in Sub 2, I had to go through and retrain my brain on everything because
Wow.
as an agent, we're taught to stay inside this tiny little box.
Yeah.
Everything has to be perfect and
Hmm.
symmetrical and has to fit the mold essentially.
Hmm.
Versus creative, it's like if you can come up with a crazy idea and it's legal and get
Hmm.
somebody else to believe in it, you're
Yeah.
in a deal.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Um, so, reduce commissions for the agents, and um, or delayed payments over time. As
Hmm.
you're paying the monthly rent, they're paying a chunk off of that. And that's typically why sellers always want that 20% for two reasons. One, it makes them feel secured because that's what banks say.
Mm-hmm.
And two, it's so they can pay all the fees
Mm-hmm.
because they're paying both sides of the commissions. They're paying, their portion of transfer and recordation, so on and so forth.
Yeah. So any whimsical ideas on, like, I can almost tell you why the property hasn't sold. They want, it's 4 plots of land. It has a giant house on it. The numbers wouldn't work on doing like shorter midterm rentals because it's only a 3-2 and
Right.
it's a huge house. It has barns, it has fencing, it has a riding ring, 2 ponds on it.
Typical horse property.
Yeah. And
By no
so,
means am I an expert, but I've sold a few of them.
yeah, and so, when I sell the property, it was in, again, the horse show thing all the way up in Pennsylvania, and they're in Florida. And so it was the real estate agent that's the non-listing agent as part of the office that is, and so she had the idea to market it to the snowbirds and, that wanted to like kind of move to Florida, but most people are not looking for 33-acre properties. They kind of want to move down and have like, a 4-stall barn and something small, 10 acres or less.
Yep.
And so I looked at the price and then I looked at another piece that was twice the amount of land with the exact same price tag, but it was close and had already been subdivided. It was further up Space Coast where like, SpaceX and all the people are that work there. It's not in Cocoa, but I was like, but it's 69 acres. Like, so I said, oh, I know what it is. He wants, and he was gifted the property. There's a quick claim deed on it. It was in the family. So basically the guy built a house, has 4 plots and sold it and moved to a bigger, or he wanted to sell it and he bought a new place. And so it doesn't have any liens on it. It's free and clear. And so I was like, oh, he wants developer price for it, but he hasn't subdivided it. It's zoned ag. Bo looked at it, and he said, oh yeah, he said that he's definitely asking like the right price for this or whatever. And there are properties of comp, but I have the emails from the real estate agent that said it's really hard property to comp. It definitely needs somebody like you that knows what to do with it because it doesn't fit the traditional whatever.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I mean, if Bo's saying it's a good deal, I fully support that.
well, he didn't say it was a good deal. He just said that
I got you.
it was that they weren't
The
asking
numbers
too
work.
much. But what I was told is that the developers aren't developing right now because of the interest rates. Now, the guy I talked to yesterday that was sub-2 said, well, that's not entirely true, but I don't really know this guy. So I'm just kind of like,
When builders build, it
Yeah.
is all dependent on supply and demand, but also what they bought it for.
yeah,
If they bought it in June of 2021, they're not going to be building on that for probably another 10 or 20 years until values get back up to there for them to
Yeah.
truly make a profit.
yeah,
Versus if they bought it in 15, 16, 17, 18, somewhere in there.
yeah,
Where, yeah, maybe they had, a 5 or 6% interest rate, but the price was in terms of this, 500 to $1 million less.
hmm
So it's a lot of it goes into what they bought it for,
hmm
what they have to put into it, and then know their back end. So they're having to basically reverse engineer everything from, all right, if I can sell it for $1 million, I'll make 200,000.
hmm
If I can't sell it for at least $1 million, then it doesn't do me any good to put money into it because then I'm not going to make the profit margin. So I'll just sit on it. And that's typical of all builders, across the nation.
yeah. Yeah, so I think just getting past, like, I'm supposed to have a call at 4 today, with this sub-2 guy, and, um, we'll see. And this real estate agent who's a non-listing agent or whatever, but, he doesn't have too much tolerance for real estate agents that like it's sat on the property for, or sorry, sat on the market for that long and, and they don't want to budge. So,
As a realtor,
mhm.
we suck. Flat out. We suck. And anytime on a creative deal, because when I first started, I'm like, all right, agent outreach. It's perfect. I am an agent. We speak the same language.
Yeah.
We do not.
Yeah.
We do not. I beat my head against the wall for probably 6 months doing agent outreach.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is perfect. And here's how it all works. I
Yeah.
understand this. Why don't you understand this?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yeah, oh, wait, that won't work. So, um, and then agents, not all, but most of them are looking out for their own pocket, not their client.
Yeah.
It's sad to say that, and it puts a stink on the industry, but unfortunately, there's plenty of that. And I think even more so right now, that it's definitely a lot of agents are hurting right now because the business is just slow.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I would like pay people. I just need to write the deal the way that it works as the business is being built, you know? And
Top
the
tier TC.
lady that is, the lady that's the non-listing agent, she said she understands it. And I said, oh, you're probably what we would call like a unicorn agent. She's like, oh, I like it, you know? And she understood what I was trying to do. But, hey, Lisa, I don't want to
What's
keep
up,
like
Lisa? How are you?
chattering away.
Well, let me unmute myself. Hold on. Hold on. It's coming. Hi.
How are you?
I did not want to interrupt, and it was
Oh, no.
enjoying the conversation, but I'm new to Subto, and I live in DC, and am just really excited about Subto, sort of sipping water through a fire hose at this point, but
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
excited
It
nevertheless.
doesn't slow down.
No.
It doesn't
Okay.
slow down because as soon as you learn one thing, you want to try to go tackle the next thing and then the next thing and then the next thing. Best advice I can give you, pick one first, figure out what your avatar is. I think that's going to be the most beneficial for you. Two, pick one strategy that you want to go down, what you want to do, whether it's direct to seller, direct to agent, wholesaler outreach with the Lonza method, or the 4 million other strategies, but pick one and focus on that.
Got it.
May will be 2 years since I joined, and I tried to do 5 or 6 different things at one time. And when you try to make everything number one importance, nothing is important, and you'd end up just spinning your wheels. So upfront advice, that's the best advice I can give you. Figure out your avatar and then pick which strategy you want to go down. And then probably third from there, are you new to real estate or just Subto?
No, I've been in real estate for 18 years. I'm not an
Hey, me
agent.
too.
Yeah, I'm not an agent, so.
Okay. All right. So if you
But
were brand
awesome
new, I would say
advice.
try to find a team to jump on. And that may be something you want to do anyways, just to start learning more Sub2 stuff. Find, there's in the DMV, I think we have like 18 regional leaders.
Mhm.
So find somebody so if you're looking at DC, find people in DC that are already doing deals and then try to team up with them.
Got it. Okay. That's great advice. I appreciate it. And I look forward to meeting everyone at the next in-person meetup.
Fantastic. Are you on the DMV Facebook page?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Let me see if I can pull that one up because a lot of our local meetups are posted in there. I'm actually the Western Maryland leader. So we host our meetings in Mount Airy.
Okay.
Put the link over here. Good. So there's the link to the DMV Facebook group.
As my nephew would say, awesome sauce.
I say that too. I'm a child at heart. What other questions do you have?
That's probably, my strategy, and you just tell me if this sounds crazy. My strategy was to be a gator because I feel like the thought process was I could have I could get my first deal quickly. And I could have some money working for me while I am working on something else. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
100%.
I'm just
When I
sort of
first got in, when I first
go
joined
ahead.
Subto, Gator really wasn't even a thing yet. But I jumped into private lending because that's what was available to me at the time while I went through and figured out which of the 5 avenues I was trying. Thankfully, I've narrowed that down a lot. But no, I like your thought process there, and that way you're making money and then keep some, and this is just a personal recommendation, but keep some for your pocket. Everybody loves HPNB, Hip Pocket National Bank. A friend of mine told me that one, and I've used it ever since. And I was like, he told me that, and I'm like, dude, I'm stealing your line.
I love it.
So I love that line. And then I would say split it in half, enjoy half of it, and put the rest away so that you're building up your own fund basically. So when you do find that right deal that you want to invest in, you have a little bit of a nest egg or a big nest egg to deploy into that deal.
Okay. And I've got, this might be TMI, but I've got student loans that are knocking at my door. So
Yep.
that
So yeah, that's
it's
a
an
great
immediate.
strategy to use to get out of debt. Absolutely.
Mhm. And I feel like I could kill it quickly this way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Gator, I don't know a ton about it. I just know a lot of like the basics. But you're looking at, EMD funding, transactional funding. Most Gator stuff is generally within 30 to 45 days, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And you make a good return on it. Some people charge flat
Yeah.
fees, some people charge interest rates on it or percentages of the money. Every person is different, I believe. And just figure out kind of what your niche is and then rock and roll.
Awesome. So is it appropriate? Would it be appropriate to say that like in the DMV Facebook group that I was open to transitional lending and here's what,
Yep.
I would charge $1,000 for borrowing 5,000. Would that be okay? Or is that against the rules?
No, by all means, because that basically you're going in there trying to connect with people to say, hey, I have money, let's JV a deal, let's partner a deal, let me be your gator. So I would put it in the DMV group and also in the Subto group.
But I thought I saw someone, I thought in the Subto group, I saw someone like sort of get their hands spanked for it, saying that wasn't the appropriate forum. And
Um,
it was a leader. And so I
Ooh,
was like,
okay. Then
yikes.
I would say go in and make a post and say, hey, leaders, can I post about raising Gator funds? And then one of the leaders will get back to you.
Okay. Got it. Okay. And the interesting thing about Gator is that I've talked to 25 different people, and those 25 different people have said something different about Gator. They all say that it is great, but apparently there's a group of Gators that is like really managed, and you have to sign a contract with them. It's different. So yeah, I've been tiptoeing around that because I don't want to offend anybody or step on anyone's toes.
Right. Sorry, I just got a bad email. Property I have out in Cleveland, I had appraised a few months ago for 74,000. Put a new roof and updated the electrical, and this appraisal just came in at 70,000. So
Wow.
Not the news that I wanted to hear.
You will
Um,
make it up in your next deal.
Yeah, so I'll have to work through that one and figure that thing out, but it is what it is. Perks of the business.
Yeah.
All right. What other questions can I help you with?
That's it for me. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely, I'm happy to help. I look forward to meeting you at a meetup.
Absolutely. Thank you.
My pleasure. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Or did
What's
she
up,
hang up?
Amy? I
Did
got
she hang
about,
up?
yep, she bet rolled
Oh
out.
no, because I just asked my
Well, she's still
husband.
on.
Oh,
Oh, I'm still on.
you can hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
So there is a group, but it's a private Facebook group with all the gators in it, and it's private money mastermind or something. I don't, something like that. But I think you have to be invited to it. So I don't know. It's just like you just have to
Okay.
talk to everybody, tell them what you want to do, and then they'll be like, "Oh, you have to get on our Facebook group." And then I think it's outside of, it's outside of Subto, but
Got it.
yeah,
Okay. Thank you for your help. I appreciate you.
sure.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. So I have a question with regard to this, your openness for how you transitioned out of the critical factor to be open to creative stuff when you were going from real estate agent to, I know with
So I started in real estate in August of 06, right as the market just took a big nosedive.
Yeah.
So after 20 and 21, knowing that it just skyrocketed up, I knew the market was going to change. And that's when I went to good old YouTube University and found Pace, studied him for probably 20 or 30 hours on all of his
Wow.
YouTube stuff. Then I made the call to Subto and just it's been all uphill ever since.
Wow. Because it sounds like there's like this unasked questions in people's mind, like, how you change the questions from like instead of saying how, you say what, you know what I mean? And if
Right.
people, you don't hear that in people, you might as well like not waste your time because they're not at the place that they're going to bypass that critical factor thing.
Right.
That's what I was curious, because I felt like if I could speak their language, and that's what I was saying right before Lisa popped on, was that the non-listing agent said, when she kind of got the creative thing, she said, I know so-and-so and so-and-so that are listing agents for this property. And she said, and they're never going to go for it if, XYZ. And she said, well, can you send proof of funds? Cause then I could put it forward, but in my mind, I'm sort of, so she kind of wanted to do it, but she's kind of up against this thing. But that's where I wanted to say it's on the property 400 days. I mean, you could
Right.
try something, anything, So, and I don't know if it was true either when she said that he wasn't open to a lease option. I don't know if they just like said that or,
It's again, agents generally get in the way. So that's a hard one. And there again, without knowing the full situation, it's
Yeah.
a little harder as well.
Yeah.
But I don't recommend going around the agent, but sometimes you kind of have to.
Yeah.
Like if it's been on the market for more than 6 months, I would potentially skip trace and try to call the seller directly.
Yeah. Is there
Um,
a, could they buy their way out of the contract? Or do you think that, because I mean, if I were them, I'd be like, guys, it's really been on and I appreciate that, it's still listed with you, but
yeah, very, very, very much so. That's a tough one.
yeah.
Hey,
I'm-
fam.
Thanks,
Hi.
Amy, one of my
wrapping
favorite
up right
people.
now.
Yeah, I have another call into a Zoom, so I'm like, sorry, guys.
Yep, all good. No, I gotta jump off anyways. Amy, my phone number is up here in my name here. Shoot me a text and we'll keep working through this.
Okay.
All right.
758. Yep, I just want to make sure I have it before you jump off.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate you. I'll be
My
talking with
pleasure.
you soon.
All right, guys, take care. Have a good one.
Okay.
All right.